Welcome back to My Visible Friend. There are about 10 million meetings and letters home about my peculiar and disruptive behaviour at school assembly. Mrs. Sass decided that the problem was that I had poor social skills because I was an only child. He doesn't mix with other children. He's an isolated figure on the playground. Wouldn't you be an isolated figure if people followed you around shouting, "Sir, sir," or "Wolverine," or yelling, "Hello up there," a million times a day? I mean, what do they want me to do? Shrink? Dad said, "You need to try and make some friends." I've got loads of friends. I've got 20 guild members just waiting to do my bidding. I'm talking about real life, not computers. I don't accept that distinction. That's my exact point, said Dad. You need a friend who is visible to the naked eye. The point about World of Warcraft is that other players don't know how tall or short or fat or how thin you are. They just accept you for what you are, namely, in my case, a highly skilled night elf with healing powers. This wasn't enough for Mum and Dad, so they sent me to the Little Stars drama group every Saturday morning. Lisa, the girl who ran it, didn't seem impressed with my poor social skills. She sucked her teeth and looked up and down and said, "We really need a children's theatre group." "He's 12, said Dad. "What, mental age?" "No, physical age. And mental, I suppose. He's 12. Mentally, physically, emotionally, the lot. He's just a bit tall. And stubbly." Oh. She didn't look like she believed him. I showed her my passport. "He's a clever lad," said Dad. "He's in the gifted and talented." "He's not exactly a little star, though, is he?" said Lisa. "I suppose if we did the big friendly giant, he'd be perfect." So she smiled. "Why don't we do that then?" So we did. Florida Kirby was already a fully paid up little star. Lisa gave her part of the giant's little friend, Sophie. The Sophie in the play, Florida said, was named after Sophie's dad, the supermodel. So when I played Sophie, I played a young supermodel. Florida had always been a celebrity. When Lisa made us do the role play, in which we had to act like we'd seen a ghost, Florida saw the ghost of Britney Spears. When we had to pretend to be a dog, she was Madonna's dog. As we walked home through the Strand for the first day, Florida kept practising her lines on me. Her lines were mostly things like, "You're huge," "Goodness, you're tall," or "You're proper gigantic." And she said them all in her best little star's loud and clear voice. I sat down on one of the benches by the water feature, just to be a little bit less tall for a while. "If we sit here," said Florida, "security will come and chase us. They hate kids hanging around on the bench. They hate kids, really." But security didn't come and chase us. In fact, one of them walked past and nodded at me. "What's going on?" said Florida. "They think," I explained, "that you're with me and that I'm your dad." You're kidding. Do they? Do they honest?" "Yes, but this is brilliant." And she was right. We could do anything. So we did. That Saturday, and every Saturday from then on, we played on the lifts, messed about in the photo booth, and went to the Total Games and tried out all the new releases. We even went to the News and Booze, which is strictly no unaccompanied children, under any circumstances. Florida loved it in there because she could browse through all the celebrity magazines while I bought a magazine to make myself look more dadly. Sometimes she used to give me £1 before we went inside so I could buy her chocolate. I said, "Buy your own chocolate." Girls do not buy their own chocolate when they're out with their dads. Dads buy it for them. She even tried to get me to buy her cigarettes. Dads don't buy their children cigarettes. My actual dad would. He'd do anything for me. He's going to buy me a pony. Ask your actual dad then. Once I went in there without her, and the woman behind the counter said, "Where's your little princess today then?" How much did Florida love that when I told her? Princess is brilliant. You'll have to call me Princess. I don't think so. Why not? My dad calls me Princess all the time. We'll talk about this another time, I said. "Oh, you really sound like Dad when you said that." "Thanks." Another time she brought her little sister Ibiza with her. Oh, another one, said the woman in the news and booze. I didn't know you had two. I hope you don't mind me saying, but it's lovely to see a young dad spending time with his girls the way you do. They're both a credit to you, aunts. Aren't you lucky, girls, to have such a good dad? She gave them a chomp bar each. It was golden time, and maybe we should have stopped there. But if you play a lot of games, and then the moment you get good at something, that feels like level 1. You start itching to level up. One day Lisa had to finish early because her dad was ill. We could have spent the time in the Strand doing all the usual things, or we could have used the extra time to look for level 2. The 6161 stops right outside the parish hall and goes all the way to Liverpool's celebrated city centre. So there it was, the way to level 2. Being a grown-up in the Strand was fun. Being a grown-up in Liverpool's celebrated city centre was totally cosmic. The moment we got off the bus, a woman in a white miniskirt and a red sash came up and said hello, and gave me a free sample of a new yoghurt drink. Here, she said, have a couple for your little girl. We hadn't even finished drinking them when another woman gave us a free newspaper, and another one in a trouser suit asked if I had 5 minutes to answer some questions. The questions were mostly about how we had got to the town and what our favourite shops were. Then there was a few about the year I was born and what I did for a living. I gave her my dad's birthday and told her I was a taxi driver. She said, would you like to come here with me and taste a new sandwich spread we're developing, on which we will value your opinion? She took us to a really nice room and gave us free sandwiches and fizzy water. Afterwards we had to fill in the questionnaires and we were allowed to keep the pens. Florida asked for more sandwiches. The woman in the trouser suit laughed and said, I guess that's all the feedback we need. So can we have some more then? No. Which is how we ended up near the world-famous waterfront, looking into the window of the Porsche showroom. Florida said, that would be going too far, wouldn't it? Let's find out, I said, getting Crispy's new world feeling again. It was the first time in a car showroom. I'd never seen a car on a carpet before. It was like being in the living room of a posh car family. The cars looked smaller and glossier than they usually do. A man in a suit saw us and came over and said, be with you in a minute, sir. Help yourself to coffee. There was a coffee machine and a plate of biscuits, disappointingly mostly plain digestives. Florida nabbed the only bourbon, and she walked around chomping crumbs on the carpet. There was one really nice, sleek-looking car. Florida said, take a picture of me with your mobile. Why? That's what dads do. So she leaned on the bonnet and smiled while I took her picture. Straight away the man in the suit was standing next to us. I admire your taste, he said. Florida said, this is a Boxster. Wayne Rooney's got one like this. It's red. He has indeed, said the man in the suit. And he bought them both here. You're very well informed, little girl. And then she asked how old she was. I said, she's 11. Then I thought I should say something grown up, so I said, I'm not sure about this colour. The red one's like Wayne Rooney's over here. Come and have a look. So I did. I've got to agree with you. A car like this was born to be red. It was nice of him to agree with me, even though I didn't remember saying that. She costs a bit. I know, the price was written on the windscreen. It took up most of the windscreen. But she's worth it. Yeah, oh yeah. Are you looking to buy or just looking? Yes, I know what I should have said, but to buy sounded older. Would you be bringing your old car in part exchange? No, I like my old car. I'll probably keep my old car. It's a good car. I know the score. The other one's a family car. That's for when you're being a proper grown-up, Dad. This is for when you're playing racing cars. Isn't that right? He winked at Florida. Men, we never grow up, do we? He definitely hasn't, said Florida. Well, said the man in the suit, let's pretend we have grown up, just for a moment. What's your income? I'm not sure. Varies, really. You're right, you're so right. I'm too nosy. I mean, you haven't even said you want her yet, have you? No, I haven't. I'm always giving it the hard sell. A car like this, you should let it sell for yourself. That's when Florida said, "Can we sit in it?" He looked at her for a second, and she said, "Please." "Go on then." We both got in. She whispered, "You should have told me to say please." "You did say please." "Yes, but you should have told me before I got the chance. That's more dad-like." "Okay." The man in the suit looked in, winked at Florida and said, "Comfy?" "Yeah," said Florida. I said, "Yeah, what?" "Yeah, thanks." And then the man handed me the keys. "Go on," he said. "You know you're dying to. Just nudge her out of the forecourt. See how she handles." Before I could say anything, he was asking the other salesman to move the other cars out of the way and open the big doors so I could take the car outside. "I need to push the seat back a bit for you. You're a big lad, aren't you?" I could have said, "Yes, I'm a big lad," but that doesn't mean I'm old. But I didn't say that. I said, "Thanks," and added, "Mate." "Have you got your licence on you, Mr. Digby?" No, I haven't. I try not to sound too happy about this." "That's all right, Mr. Digby. I trust you. Thousands wouldn't." He crouched down next to me and gave me a guided tour of the dashboard. "There's your MP3 player, your ergonomic seat thing, your sat-nav in case you actually want to go somewhere." I had a thought. "I've got Drake's World on my phone. We can hook that up to the sat-nav." He was impressed. He said, "Not sure. Give it a go." I got Drake's World up on my phone and chose a Waterloo. "Waterloo," said the man. "No, this doesn't work. Waterloo's about 15 minutes from here. This is showing a journey time of 3 days." "Actually," I said, "that's Waterloo in Sierra Leone, Africa." He looked at me like I was talking pure poetry. "Wow," he said, "Africa. Is that your favourite? What would you do? Shoot down to France, over the Pyrenees?" He was gone, imagining the whole journey in his head. The rivers, the mountains, the ferries, the desert. "Mr. Digby," he said, "you deserve this car. If I could, I would give it to you." So I turned the key in the ignition. The car made a sound like a purring cat. The man stepped aside and pointed to the bonnet. "Engineering's perfection," he smiled. "It is at the moment," I thought, "but in 5 minutes' time it might well be a load of scrap metal. The thing about level 2, of course, is that it has a new and unexpected dangers. You stand a much better chance of being killed." I looked down at the pedals. I knew one of them was the accelerator. I just wasn't sure which one. The one the World of Warcraft teaches you is that you want to succeed on the next level, you need to acquire new skills. Don't level up until you've skilled up. Sadly, this was a lesson I had forgotten. I was pretty sure that the accelerator was the one in the middle. I had my foot on it when the door of the passenger side opened and a very familiar voice said, "You, out, now, come on." I probably didn't mention this at the time, Dad, but on balance, I was pleased to see you. When I climbed out, you were shouting at the man in the suit, telling him that I could have been killed and asking why he doesn't do age checks. "How was I supposed to know?" wailed the man. "By checking his licence." "Good point, Dad." "He didn't have one." "Of course he hasn't got one. He's 12 years old." "Look, mate," said the man in the suit, "don't go blaming me because your son's a freak." I thought Dad was going to hit him. Then he growled, "He's not a freak. He's normal, but tall." It wasn't just his height, it was the fact that he seemed to have a daughter. Dad's got a little statue of St. Christopher stuck to his dashboard, and he shoved me in the taxi in the way back to the town centre. I bumped against it and it rolled on the floor. "Pick that up," snapped Dad. Okay. You've knocked the baby Jesus onto his back." "Just don't talk to me, Liam." I said okay, but there was something I wanted to ask him. I waited until we were on the dock road. Then I said, "How do you know where we were?" "I'm your dad," he said. "If you act funny, I notice. If we get an unexpected bus instead of going home, I follow you, even if it means turning down the fares and having the boss bawling at me on the radio. I'm your dad. That's what dads do." Thinking about that now makes me wonder if you're out there, somewhere behind us, charging us as though we were wastes of space in your taxi. But no taxi would have been able to generate the necessary escape velocity. In case you're interested, by the way, this is how Dad located us that day. He gave us his old phone. He bought me a new one but kept his old number. So there were two phones. Phone 1, Dad's, and phone 2, mine, with the same identity. So if he ever worried about me, he could fire up Draxworld and request present position on phone 2, and that would tell him where I was. So my phone looked like a phone, but it was really an electronic tag. Because we shared the number, I used to get all of Dad's messages from Pine Planet, telling me that my new kitchen units were ready for collection, and Dad used to get messages from members of my World of Warcraft guild saying stuff like, been attacked by dragons, need your healing powers now, and captured 50 goblins, kill or hold for ransom. A nervous person might have thought, blimey, we're being invaded by mythical creatures, and maybe gone and hidden away in the woods behind the golf course. Dad just thought, this phone's got funny. I'll turn it off and turn it back on again. That's Dad's solution to any technological problem. Microwave, sat-nav, computer, dishwasher, turn it off and turn it back on again. It'll be okay. To be fair, it usually works. I'd try it now, but I'm not sure his rocket has an on and off switch.